Tire change, coming car 10-8.
Clear. And you're also going to have one at the 7-9 eastbound right shoulder, a white Pontiac.
There is also a 1046 in the ramp from Grant northbound to westbound, right underneath the underpass at the ramp shoulder. I'll be 1076 when I take care of this other 1046.
Gary TMC at 425.
8425.
Concerned the driver just hit my unit and hit the car in front of me.
Are you 10-4?
Yes, I am.
There. I can state police route.
For this is unknown, we do have actually another person in the car that just hit me from behind.
10 District 13 Zone 1 units have a 1050 unknown with the Hoosier Helper, 1050 unknown with the Hoosier Helper, 7.8 mile marker I-80 eastbound, unit right advice.
Carry the person in the vehicle behind me is unresponsive. I have a major leak of diesel. For your 43 on the floor, that's my unit. We broke the shaft that brings it up, and that's it completely off. Wait a minute, we're going to need a 1051, a 1052. Yeah, this person is actually knocked out completely cold. I just don't want to move him. I don't know if anything happened. And we have a child in the back seat of the first vehicle in front of me. I check on him. He's free, but not responsive.
Check that left or right shoulder.
Right shoulder, it looks like the Hoosier Helper vehicle and maybe two others. Lake County is en route. Reference EMS. There is an unconscious subject in the red vehicle.
1023 at 7.1.
9860 for an unconscious. Maybe I-80 bound, mile marker 8. 9860 unconscious, I-80 bound, mile marker 8. Copy 9860 again, that's I-80 eastbound, mile marker 8. Such is going to be in a red truck, unconscious. ISP's on the scene.
3151. Might be a 10-0. I'll check her for pulse. Not enough room to pull her out on the pavement. She's kind of trapped in by the door.
Is this a traffic accident I'm going to that somebody's unconscious at?
They didn't advise it was an accident. They only stated a male was unconscious in a red truck. Crash that. It's going to be a 3-car accident.
Well, we got some gas leaking from the Hoosier Helper. I'm going to need some containment for that. I'll see how much you have.
8705, mile marker 8, I-80 eastbound. Maybe a PI accident. 8705, mile marker 8, I-80 bound.
I'll be handling a report. No reconstruction needed, but it looks like it's going to be a 10-0.
3-vehicle accident. Occupants of 2 vehicles are out. Driver of 1 vehicle, red pickup truck, is still inside. Hey, Chief, I might need help getting her out. I got heavy intrusion, dash roll, and she currently does not have a pulse.
943, the red pickup truck, did that have a child in it or just the white Pontiac?
White Pontiac, they got the baby on the Chief ahead of us. She's a witness. They so have.
This is DOA here.
8702 will be standing by on scene. We got 1 DOA, 2 to be transported to the hospital. Got that.
We're diving into a tough one today. A real tragedy on I-8094 out in Indiana.
Yeah, February 28th, right? Early morning, like 7 a.m.
Right near the Grant Street exit. A fatal crash, a Hoosier Helper vehicle involved.
Always hard to hear about those. Those folks are out there helping people.
Exactly, and in this case, assisting a motorist with a flat tire, doing their job.
And then a pickup truck, red Ford from 2008, slams right into the back of them.
We're trying to piece together what happened, what led to this, what it means for road safety.
Absolutely. We've got official reports, news articles, the whole picture.
Plus, some background on the Hoosier Helper program itself.
And can't forget the broader issue of impaired driving. That's crucial here.
So let's set the scene. You've got the Hoosier Helper on the shoulder.
Right. Stopped. Lights flashing. Standard procedure. Helping that motorist.
Textbook. Doing what they're trained for. And it's a critical service.
Huge help on the interstates. They're like a mobile safety net out there.
But then, this pickup truck, eastbound, suddenly veers off the road.
And collides hard with the back of the Hoosier Helper, devastating impact.
Catastrophic damage is what they're saying about that pickup.
Tragically, the driver, 30-year-old woman Kirsten Garrett, didn't make it.
Deceased at the scene, just a brutal reminder of how quickly things can go wrong.
And it raises the immediate question, what makes someone veer like that?
Into a clearly marked stationary vehicle? It's baffling.
Well, we're waiting on the toxicology report for the full story.
But the early indications, they point towards impairment being a factor.
A likely factor, yeah, which takes us down a whole other road.
It's a chilling thought, and the others involved, thankfully, okay.
Right, the folks in the car being helped and the Hoosier Helper operator.
No serious injuries. They were incredibly lucky considering the force of that impact.
You have to wonder if the Hoosier Helper hadn't been there.
Taking the brunt of that collision, it's a sobering thought.
This whole thing underscores the value of that program.
Absolutely. The Hoosier Helpers, they're more than just flat tire fixers.
Right. They're traffic control, medical aid, they cleared brie, the whole 9 yards.
Sponsored by Geico. A good Samaritan initiative, really.
And the training they go through? Extensive. First aid, CPR, even hazmat awareness.
You know, it's designed to keep things moving smoothly and safely.
Reduce congestion, prevent secondary crashes. There's data backing that up.
They're a vital part of the interstate system, for sure.
But this case highlights a limitation, even with the best safety measures.
What do you mean?
Well, they can't account for every bad decision drivers make.
You're talking about impaired driving? That's the elephant in the room.
Exactly. You can have all the resources in the world, but...
If someone's judgment is that compromised, it's a huge risk.
And the stats are grim. A life lost every 30 seconds in the U.S. due to impairment.
30 seconds. Think about that. It's a constant danger on our roads.
And this stretch of I-889-4, it's seen its share of trouble.
We've got cases from just a few years back. Really reckless stuff.
November 2019, driver clocked at 142 miles per hour in Portage, BAC, twice the limit.
And then September 2019, Gary, driver on 3 tires, BAC over 3 times the limit.
And get this, they failed to move over for an emergency vehicle.
So there's a pattern here, not just isolated incidents.
High-risk driving in this corridor, a recurring problem.
And despite all the efforts, the awareness campaigns, the messaging,
Designated drivers, ride sharing, it's all out there.
yet these situations keep happening. It's frustrating, to say the least.
So what's the big takeaway here for our listeners?
I think it boils down to responsibility, individual responsibility.
We can build systems, we can have resources, but...
Ultimately, it's the person behind the wheel who makes the choices.
And the consequences, as we've seen, can be devastating.
We'll learn more from the toxicology report in this specific case.
But the bigger picture, it's about changing behavior, preventing these tragedies.
And especially in areas like this, where the risks are well documented.
Makes you think, what more can be done? How do we get through to people?
It's a challenge, a constant challenge, and one worth thinking about.
Absolutely. Even with programs like the Hoosier Helpers out there.
Doing their best to keep us safe, it's a shared responsibility, no doubt.
A sobering thought to end on, but one we can't ignore.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's heavy stuff, but important.
Stay safe out there, everyone, and make smart choices behind the wheel.
We'll be back soon with more deep dives. Until then, drive safe.